Happy Sunday. Welcome to the finance church that we call Sunday Playbook. By the way, Jimmy just renamed the whole show to the finance church. So that's what we're going to rock with, y'all. Everybody come in. The doors are always open. The pews ain't filled yet, but we're going to have a good time today. Today we're going to talk about CAGR, also known as compound average growth rate.
Annual. But go ahead, though.
What did I say? I said average, didn't I?
Yeah. You wake up, man. Wake up.
I ain't have enough coffee yet. So compound annual growth rate.
Yeah,
I did it twice.
Keep right back at it like
Did it twice. And of course, they're not going to ignore it and just let it go.
No, not at all. At all.
You,
would you rather me let you say no?
Yes. Go ahead, sometimes, yes. Let me feel good sometimes, man. But listen. Today it already started. The shenanigans have already started. So y'all know we're going to have a good time. So welcome. But before we get going, what's up, Jimmy? What's up, Corey? How y'all?
What it is, though?
Hey, man, I'm excited, man. I woke up this morning, so I have nothing to complain about. We had a great day yesterday, sharing energy with our folks. And, also, you know what I'm saying? Got a nice long steak last night, you know what I'm saying? So life is good right now, man. I got the Sunday. Y'all know every Sunday I gotta throw on one of the shadowy super coater hoodies because it's time to get into the mix, man.
Now listen, yesterday we did our very first community presentation as the Black Wealth Rebels. Now we've done stuff before, but yesterday was official, it was monumental. So we gotta make sure we mark that down somewhere.
We can't get no air horns for that, man. All right, make sure we
say less. Say less. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Real quick, before we get into today's presentation again, compound annual growth rate. Damn.
Yo, what's wrong with him, Corey?
I
did, man.
I'm tired. I was tired. But wanted to talk about something really, really good that was announced today. President Biden has been pressured by the Democrats to give the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey a pardon or clemency. If many of y'all don't know him, y'all should. Check this out. And if you're not familiar with his work, he was one of the leaders to be set up by the government, that is. So how ironic that a black man doing civil rights work, black work, in the 20s got set up for mail fraud. And it's been known for quite a while that the charges were all trumped up. No pun intended.
I was getting ready to ask you what you go ahead.
No pun intended. Not for this one. Not. Okay, but it's been known that the charges were trumped up. They were all fake. They were all messed up. So this is a good day for us to rejoice and be happy. But let's be clear. I don't want to be anybody disillusioned. This is also a political trick. All right. So
he also exonerated the boy that was taking money for putting kids in. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Let's finish.
Oh, I didn't know that, but I was only focusing on Marcus.
Yeah, let's focus on the honorable one, man. Go ahead.
That's right. That's it. But it's still a political trick. But that's why it's important to understand what's going on with politics, along with your money and everything else that's going on. But remember, it's MLK Day. This is a great day to be happy for Marcus, the honorable, and for Martin. But let's get back to today's presentation. So there you go, Jim.
All right, man. You ready to get into the class part of this presentation? First of all, everybody who's here, because I see a number of folks here, go into the chat. Let us know who is here and where you checking in from, because we got a number of folks here on various platforms. And salute to you all. But for those who don't know, this is our Sunday Finance Church, right? We call it the Sunday Playbook, where we talk about different aspects of the stock market. We also talk about what we're looking at this upcoming week, because we're traders, right? So we do trade, we do swing trades. Me and Spy go at it every day. You know what I'm saying? I'm shout out to my ops, known as Spy. But we do share we do share a lot of things that are, what we consider 101. And the reason we do it is because some of the comments we get. Like, I know our first couple of shows, we were just talking about all kinds of different things and using vocabulary, and people were confused. So we're taking it step by step, and every Sunday we'll do a class before we talk about what we're looking at this week in the market. So appreciate all the folks chiming in. Good morning to you all. But let's get into it. And for those that are a part of our village, and by the way, Kamari, how do people join our village?
Go to blackwealthrebels.com.
Yes. So for those that are a part of our village, I will crop this part out and make it its own class. I did get some feedback from the village in terms of the Bitcoin class. I'm putting together a Bitcoin 2025 class for people who just, want to learn Bitcoin 101. And it seems like everybody will like it on the weekend. So maybe like a weekend afternoon. We're going to schedule that soon, which will be for members of the village only. But join the village by going to blackwealthrebels.com. And I'll chop this part out, but let's get it started, man. So what we're going to talk about is understanding the compound annual growth rate, which is also known as CAGR. You may hear people say the term CAGR. What they're speaking of, CAGR, is the compound annual growth rate. So what's interesting is, and I mentioned this yesterday, and shout out to Camille, who is actually in the building, who invited us to speak to her cohort yesterday. And I said this on a couple shows ago, and people got upset at me when I talked about the idea of dividend stocks being overrated. One of the reasons I was speaking about this is because I've been consistently doing models and running models about the return of dividends versus some companies' growth over an extended period of time, specifically the last 15 to 20 years, as our economy has shifted to tech runs our economy. You can say what you want to say, but look at most of the returns in our market, and it comes from tech. And the compound annual growth rate of some of those companies exceed what you would get from dividend paying companies when you even factoring in those dividends. So let's talk about compound annual growth rate, why it's important, and boom. Let's start with the definition, right? Corey made a statement yesterday about, like, in finance, they try to hide a lot of things through fancy words and acronyms. But most of this stuff is just simple, right? So the compound annual growth rate is a measure that calculates the annual growth rate of an investment or value over a specified period, right? So this assumes that it's constant growth rate each year. So what it's doing is, remember, time is important in this. Time is an important factor. We can look at this over a 5-year period, a 10-year period, a 20-year period. And what it does is it eliminates the effects of volatility and provides a smooth rate of growth. So how can I explain this, right? So everyone knows I'm a Bitcoiner. I talk about Bitcoin all day long. Bitcoin has its ebbs and flows. It'll have years that it's up 100% and years that it may be down 20% or whatever. But what we're doing is we're going to smooth that out. We're going to get rid of the variance, right? And we're going to see what is the compound annual growth rate over a period of time, which is why it's important. Remember, time is an important factor in CAGR. But what we're doing is we're smoothing it out to figure out how is your money compounding over whatever period of time that may be, 5 years, 10 years. So let's talk about this now. What is the formula? Here is the formula for CAGR. You take the ending value divided by the beginning value, raised to the power of 1 divided by n, and then minus 1 to turn it into a percentage.
Oh, man, that's algebra, man.
Yes, it is algebra. I'm only doing this for all my mathematicians out there. Shout out to my brother, Akil Parker. So I'll make sure I send you this part of the actual presentation. You know what I mean? So you can show me some love for putting the algebraic formula here. You do not have to remember this, right? Ending value, but I also want you to know how to calculate it if you want to do it by hand. Take the ending value, divide by the beginning value, raised to the power of 1 divided by n, and minus 1, which does nothing but turn it into a percentage, right? You don't have to memorize that at all. So, like, I'm not even going, But here are the steps. Here's some of the information and data that you need to calculate the CAGR, right? You determine the beginning and ending values of whatever that you're trying to calculate. The reason I keep saying that is because we can do it based on the stock price, right? But let's just say that you're running a Amazon e-commerce store, right? And you're making a certain amount of revenue over a period of time, and you want to see what is the growth rate of what you're making, right? You could do the same thing. The formula is the formula, right? The formula is the formula. So you identify the initial and final values of the investment or the metric. That's why it says or metric, because it doesn't necessarily have to be the stock price per se. Figure out the number of years you're measuring this over, right? So sometimes people will give you a CAGR of a specific time, but sometimes you want to expand that, right? To see, okay, well, over this last 5 years it's done well. How is it done over 10 years? How is it done over 20 years? How is it done over the last 12 months? So you can use this for different time periods. So once you plug that into the formula, it will give you a result, which is known as the compound annual growth rate. Here's an example. So let's say you start with 1,000 and you end with 2,000 over a 5-year period, most people would say, oh, that's just 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, but that's not the actual compound annual growth rate, right? When you smooth it out and, adjust for the different variants, you actually come up with 14.87. That's the CAGR. So even though you've doubled your money over a 5-year period, the actual compound annual growth rate is 14.87%. So I know some of the questions will be, well, what is a good CAGR? That all depends upon what you're measuring. Because again, as we mentioned in previous episodes, when you look at some of these metrics, you want to compare them to similar companies, right? So I'm not going to compare the CAGR for, Dollar Generals for the CAGR of NVIDIA. Like I'm not going to do that, right? Because going into that investment, I understand that I'm going to get a different CAGR. But with that being said, we talked about this last night over dinner. We talked about allocation of capital. But if I'm going to allocate capital and I have the option of picking something with a CAGR of 50 versus a CAGR of 2, unless I'm doing something strategic, why would I?
I mean, but as a real life example of this, Jim, like a lot of times people will look at the CAGR of a 10-year treasury bond or the overall stock market, and they'll say, oh, I can get risk-free money, risk-free with the bonds versus whatever else. So is it worth it? So if the CAGR is 10 for the stock that you're doing or the investment or whatever you're doing, let's say it's 10, and the bonds, let's say, are doing 3 or 4, and you say that's risk-free, you don't have to do anything with it. They say, all right, well, that's a premium of 7. So does it make sense to take risk on this particular investment for that 7%?
That's an excellent point, right? And it's one of the things that no one ever talks about when they talk about investing is risk, right? Risk is very important. And what you said is also true. I as someone who's a Bitcoiner, right? I look at what my return that I can get just by sitting it in another currency versus allocating capital to something else. So if my CAGR, let's just say over the last decade or so is 30-something%, if I can't make more than that with whatever investment I make, I'm not going to take the risk to do so. When I can have risk-free, I'm a lazy investor at the end of the day. I don't want it. I'm a lazy person at the end of the day. I'm gonna keep it a beam with y'all, right? I do work so I don't have to work hard. If that makes any sense. That's anyway, but I digress. But your point is a good point, because if I can sit it in T-bills, if I can sit it in treasuries and I can make 5%, man, these days I can sit it in Ally and make 4.5%. And I see this a lot of times in the real estate space that I operate in. People do these huge rehabs and, what's the BRRRR strategy? And it's like, dude,
they love the BRRRR. They love the BRRRR.
They love the BRRRR, right? Because BRRRR was popping a couple years ago, right? But now the thing is, you go through all of that. You're dealing with contractors and headaches and hard money lenders. It's like, yo, you made 4%. I can make 4% sitting my money in Ally. Like, what are we talking about here, right? So this is why everything at the end of the day comes down to math. Whether we're talking about the stock market, whether we're talking about real estate, whether we're talking about T-bills, whether we're talking about Bitcoin, whatever it may be. I don't care if, and not that I, want anyone doing this, but if you are selling pharmaceuticals on the street, what is your ROI? What is your CAGR, right? All these metrics apply to anything. If we talked about this last night, if you're selling you're buying a case of water and you're selling them on the corner, what is your ROI, right? Because I often see people who operate businesses and they do not know their numbers. And it's like, if you actually look at your numbers, you're not making any money. So you have to know your numbers. No matter what we're talking about, please know your numbers and do the math and do the knowledge. All right. So this is just an example of why you just can't take a flat percentage and say 5 years, 20, 20, 20. No, the CAGR is actually 14.87 because, again, we're getting rid of the variance here. So why use CAGR? One of the reasons that you use CAGR is because it's simple. It provides a single growth rate, even if the actual growth rate fluctuates, because, again, things will fluctuate. It's a good comparison tool. You can compare performance of investments or metrics of different companies, different sectors. So it's a very good tool to use. It's not too complicated. I know that the algebraic formula may have looked a little complicated, but I'm going to simplify that for y'all in a second too. It offers a clear perspective of consistent growth over time. Did you want to say something, Corey or Kamari? I heard,
No, keep going, bro. Keep
all right. So let me share one more thing. Let me share one more thing with the folks real fast, right? Because I was sitting there like, that algebraic formula is kind of wild, right? So I wrote a model this morning on Google Sheets, because I love Google Sheets, by the way. So
it's free.
At any rate, I created a CAGR calculator. So as a matter of fact, I'm gonna give this away because who cares? And we can check just by plug it in, whatever you want to plug in, we can plug something in, right? So let's just do this, right? Let's just say $10,000, right? And the future value is give me a future value, Kamari.
$100,000.
$100,000 over what period of time?
10 years.
All right, so we're gonna change this to 10 years over a 10-year period, right? So you start with 10,000, it goes to 100,000. Your CAGR is 25.89%. Now, if you were able to do that same thing over a 5-year period, your CAGR now is 58.49%. So this does everything for you. All you have to do is plug in with the number of periods you're solving for, the present value, and the future value, right? So then it'll tell you what the CAGR, you know, what CAGR you're looking for. So this is literally a CAGR calculator that I whipped up this morning for those watching. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so I did all that. I said all this to say that I'm gonna give this calculator away within the village. You got to be in the village to get it. If you don't know how to join the village, it's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. So you can use this.
BlackWolfRebels.com.
You can use this for your real estate business. You can use this for looking at the CAGR of returns on the stock market. You can look at this as, you know, maybe you run a poppy store. You want to see what your CAGR is. whatever you do, you want to see what your compound annual growth rate. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, maybe whatever you do, you can figure out the compound annual growth rate. All you need is the number of periods, you know, present value, future value, right? And this does all the math for you, so you don't have to worry about the algebra, right? So boom, there's that.
But speaking of poppy stores, Jim, I was in a poppy store the other day on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
My aunt sent me to the poppy store to get an onion. The onion was $2, and my first thought was, there's no way they're paying more than, I don't know, 50 cents, 75 cents for an onion. But
hey, listen, man.
Convenience, you got to pay for convenience, right?
Yes, you do. ROI is ROI, man. But that's the great thing about some of these concepts that we talk about on you know, our Sunday finance church, right? Is that they apply to everything. At the end of the day, man, you know, you buy it for one, you sell it for two, right?
$5 sell for two. Prop Joe, shout out to Prop Joe.
Shout out to Prop Joe. That's business. I don't care whether you're buying an iPhone, you know, you have the resources that it takes to create said iPhone. When you buy it, you know, they pay X amount and they sell it for X amount. Business is business. But if you don't check your numbers, you have to figure out whether it's even worth your time. Corey just told a story yesterday and last couple of days about how he could beat the market, but he was spending so much time doing so that it wasn't worth it because it took too much of his time, right? And why is that important as we have this CAGR conversation? Because if you're not growing capital and you could just grow your capital, right, even if you have to give up a point, give up 2 points, but have to do no work and do anything, then why would you take said risk? Risk is an important part of this. Anyway, man, so that's my presentation this morning on CAGR. And for those looking for the calculator, I'll have it in there by later this evening, because what I'm going to do is cut up this show, put just the presentation portion, and I'll attach the calculator to it. I'll put it in Excel. I'll make it in Excel so everybody knows how to use Excel. I like Google Sheets. This is not a Google endorsement. They do not pay us. But I like Google Sheets because it operates in the cloud, and I got all kinds of different finance calculators. I've shared some of them on our show. Like I shared
and it's free.
Yeah, that too. So I've shared some of my calculators and over the last several weeks about how I do analysis on specific investments. And again, I want to, matter of fact, we should probably, like I said this before, we should probably create some live, like in the village to show people how to create. Because I think that the best calculators and models that you can get are ones you create yourself. You can always go buy something, but ones you create yourself actually are more valuable to me because you see how everything works. Right. As a matter of fact, I'll just share this with you right now. You can make your own. Here's the formula right here.
Well, I'll say this though, Jim. If you,
the formula right here.
But Jim, when you put it in the village, give it to them on the Google Sheets because it's free and Excel. But everybody doesn't have Excel, so just keep that in mind.
Okay, that's true. That's true. So here's the formula. I'll give y'all. Listen, I give away everything. Man, I don't care. Here's a formula right there. If you look at the formula that I put in here, all these are typed in: future, present, and number of periods. The formula is literally right here. If you go to your Google Sheet and you hit equals RRI, and then you just type in the various columns that you want put in there. So there's the actual formula. The other thing about Google Sheets that I like is because it's a Google product. Google has Google Finance. I can pull in a lot of information via Google Finance to populate it to run specific models. So I have dividend models that I've created in Google Sheets. Obviously, compound annual growth rate. I cooked this up this morning. I have like models that do multiple formulas to figure out whether something is a value investment or not. But again, that's not what we're talking about. We want to keep it to CAGR this morning. That is CAGR. That's the formula. If you want to create your own, boom, it's right there. But if not, I'll drop the Google Sheet in the village so you'll have access to it. Just go to blackwealthrebels.com. Again, we do have free tiers, paid tiers and the like. But, listen, I ain't trying to sell you nothing, but I got something for sale. With that being said, let's talk about we looking at this upcoming week in the market. Appreciate you guys. Any questions, though? Any questions about CAGR or we talked about thus far? No? All right. Well, if y'all do got questions, drop them in the chat. We'll get to them as we proceed. Corey is over there deep in study. I know what my brother's doing, man.
Shout out to Thunder. Hey, Thunder, listen, we're going to need you to do a class on growing your food live. That's important.
Thunder, what other foods do you grow? I've shared this on our Friday show before that, I got in my bag like during the pandemic. I was like, I want to learn to make my own food. And I realized what I learned about myself is I have whatever the opposite of a green thumb is. I got a black thumb, I guess. Well, I don't know. As a matter of fact, I ain't gonna say that because I hate when you put negative. I have a pale thumb. Whatever the opposite of a green thumb is what I have, right? Because dog, I killed everything. I even went to the point, Kamari, where I went to like Home Depot and Lowe's where they sell the joints that's like already in a pot for you. I bodied them too, dog. I was out here like Freddy Krueger. I was bodying everything. So I need to figure out. And the funny thing is, I didn't know how much science goes into it. Someone on the show told me you have to look and see what is possible to grow in your area and all this other stuff.
I think that was Thunder.
That was Thunder. Okay, so that was Thunder. Yeah. Salute to you, Thunder. Yeah, Thunder, I need you to come on and do a class on like growing your food. That's black wealth too, because guess what? If I'm able to grow my own food, that's wealth. You're able to feed your folks without, having to rely on other folks. That is also black wealth. That's a black wealth conversation about growing your own food. You know what I'm saying? Like, we trying to get a farm out here, the Black Wealth Rebel farm, man. Like, you know what I'm saying?
As long as I ain't got to farm it, I just want to sit around and drink lemonade and mint julep. That's all I want to do. Man,
listen. I'm just being honest with y'all. I would love to learn to grow food, man, but every attempt I've made thus far has been unsuccessful. And I apologize to all the living creatures that I sent to be an ancestor, but it wasn't my fault. That's not my skill set. Like I shared with y'all before, man. I'm I know a couple things and I try to stay around those things, man. But anyway, I digress, man.
All right, Tiffany. What up, Tiffany?
Hey, Money Talk with Tiff. Make sure to go to Tiff's channel, subscribe to Tiff's channel. Money Talk with Tiff. Camille, go to Camille's channel too, right? Ant, what's good, man?
What up with everybody?
You know what I mean? Team Nate, Ant's in the building. All right, I'm stopping. We about to set Kamari off again, Corey. All right.
Listen, y'all, man. I ain't watched Friday show. I heard y'all was wilding.
Listen, man, it's not that. I'm gonna tell y'all, it be Don and Ant. Don and Ant always get it started. It's either Don or Anthony, man. They be wilding, but it is what it is, man. Corey, you ready to talk about what you looking at this week in the market, bro?
Of course, man. All right,
share the screen. Let's get it popping. If you have a patio 3x6, you can make something happen like okra. It's really simple and easy. So I have a whole green space on my roof, right? That I'm trying to turn into a place to live.
Stunt 101.
No, it's not. I'm not stunting, bro. It's not a stunt. That's my real life though. I'm not stunting. I'm like
that is stunting. You stunting real life.
I'm not stunting though. I'm really not trying to stunt though. Like what I'm saying. My outdoor space is on the roof, man. I live in a dead city, dog. I ain't moved to the suburbs like some of us, but I digress.
But you live in the richest part of the city, or one of them.
I didn't move to the suburbs like some of us. Man.
I live in a poor suburb.
Kamari's talking too much, man. You gotta.
Oh, now I'm talking too much. Okay, I got it.
I'm trying to hurry up, man. But
yeah, because he trying to play me, man. No, he moved to the suburbs. No, he left us to move to the suburbs.
Listen, Philadelphia school is trash. I didn't have a choice.
Nicole, you gotta come on too. Hold up. Ho. We grow our own tomatoes, zucchini, jalapenos, bell peppers. What? Peach? You grow your own peaches and kale greens? All right, man. Yo, we gotta talk, Nicole. We gotta get you on the show to you gotta,
All right, so I'm going to begin. I'm going to begin at the ending. Let me start from the beginning. It's I always start by looking at the DXY to see, to get a little bit of direction. And this is something I'll talk about every time we do these. I just look at the US dollar index because all of these companies have debt. Well, most of them have debt and debt service. And so when the US dollar DXY is moving in an upward fashion, a lot of these companies with bad debt, they'll start to move down as far as in the market. And that's because their debt is more expensive. They already have a lot of debt, and then their debt is becoming more expensive because the dollar is more expensive. And so you'll see is a opposite correlation to some of these stocks. So I'll go through just a few of those. I just want to go through this really quickly. So you'll see that the euro goes in the opposite direction of the USD. So if you look at DXY, if we go back to DXY, you see how it's climbing. If you see where my buy signal is right here, it's climbing. And then if you go to the euro, you'll see my sell signal at exactly the same place, and it started to descend. So those are just complete opposites, like literally. As long as the US dollar is climbing, the euro is falling. And as long as the euro is climbing, the US dollar is falling. So those are literal opposites. So if you want, you can just set up trades on that along that line, but you'll have to trade either futures or forex to do that.
Just cool, I wasn't laughing at you, bro. I was letting you know I'm laughing because I'm looking at Thunder's comment, but but go ahead, do it, brother.
I can't even see. Oh man, I gotta get a paid version because I don't like ads. So just by looking at that, I'm gonna go QQQ calls. That's what I'm going with this week. Also, a lot of these companies have earnings, and so I want to catch that momentum going into earnings. So what I'm going to do is be looking at QQQ 5. I'm going to be looking at the 530 call for 2 weeks out. I'm going to get in to a call at 523, and I'm going to get into a put at 519. If it goes under 519, should be looking to get into some put action. And if it goes above 523, you should be looking to get into some call action.
All right, let me chime in real fast. I just want to say one thing, that anything we say on here is for educational, informational purposes only. We are not giving advice. What we do on our Sunday finance shows, we talk about what we're looking at this upcoming week in the market, some of the trades that we're possibly going to make. So I don't want anyone to say that, hey, they told me to do this, right? This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I want to make sure I say that because, as Corey is spouting out the numbers he's looking at personally. And by the way, if your play goes, then my play is going to go as well. But I'll let you finish your analysis if you got any more, bro.
Yeah, there's also some other companies that I'm looking at, but I'll put those behind the wall. I'll give them the gem to put.
Cool.
But yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Let me share my screen, show y'all what I'm looking at this upcoming week. Of course, I always share what I'm looking at to buy long term. Long term, I'm buying more top T because that's what I do. Short term, well, it depends upon what kind of paper y'all working with, right? Because I'm gonna tell you what I'm looking at in a couple of different ways, and I'll tell you my logic in doing so, right? So, boom. Starting from the beginning at the top of the list. I am looking at I was getting ready to say Zuckerberg, but he's rebranded now. He's just Zuck now. I'm looking at Meta, right? I'm looking at Meta for a number of reasons.
Because they took over TikTok.
Did they? I didn't know they did they?
Well, clearly they're behind some of the shenanigans that's going on.
So what I was going to say is this. I was going to say, you just stole a little bit of my thunder. What I was going to say is what I was going to say is I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up the purchaser of said TikTok. Now, I don't know whether they did or not, but even if they don't, let's just say TikTok does meet its demise, they're going to be the biggest, beneficiaries of that. But I don't think TikTok is going to meet its demise. I see that, Orange Guy said that once he's in, he's going to give him a 90-day extension. Pause. But here's the thing. Zuck has rebranded himself, and Zuck is out of control right now. Right, the Ray-Ban glasses, everything he has going on with socials. He's the king of social media. So he's going to benefit the most, whether they get to purchase, whether they get to acquire TikTok, which is some rumors that they're trying to acquire it. Which was some people were saying that this whole thing is a ploy to get an American company to get their algorithm. But I digress. But just looking at Meta in general. There's a couple plays I'm looking at with Meta. For anyone that got some serious paper, I'm looking at buying a leap into Meta all the way out to 2027, and I'm going into money. I'm looking at a $500 call leap, and again, not investment advice. This is what I'm doing, and I'll be wilding sometimes, but that's about 20 bands, right? So now you say, Jimmy, I don't have 20 bands. That's cool, because also what I'll do is we're at January 19th. I will go out to February. The February monthly contracts, which are 221. Right, and Meta is currently trading at 612, so I will go with the 610. That's about $3,000, right? It's about 3,400, right? But I'm looking at Meta now. A cheaper way to make this play is actually Corey's play, because if you look at the Qs, one of the top holdings in the Qs is what? Is Meta. So Corey, let me look at the contract. What contract are you looking at for Qs?
The 530s for first week in February.
All right, so if we're looking at the 530s on Qs for the first week of February, those contracts would be February 7th and the 530s. Let's look at the 530s. It's a little bit out the money. All right, so you're talking about that's a lot cheaper to play that. That's $537. So $537 will be to play the Qs, but it's going to move the same way. So if Corey's play hits, my play is going to hit too. So we're looking at two different things, but they kind of run parallel. So I'm looking at Meta. Also, Meta has earnings coming up, and I'm looking to be out of this trade before then. If I take the February play, I'm looking to be out of there before then. The earnings are the 29th, January 29th. So about 10 days they have earnings. But also this whole idea of this TikTok news is also bullish for Meta. Probably Google as well, who owns YouTube. They'll probably be the two biggest beneficiaries, whatever happens. So this is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at Meta long term. I'm looking at buying a deep in the money call at $500. Again, that's like $20,000 you have to allocate if you have those kind of resources. But I was sharing a little bit of the strategy yesterday at the live class, and I've also did on Friday on our Friday live about being able to use the poor man's cover calls to generate income from a $20,000 investment like that. If I decide to put the $20,000 investment into a Meta, I'll be able to print $500 to $800 every month off of that. But anyway. So what was that comment? It says, I guess it's not okay for China to have all of our info, but it's okay for American companies to have it. I mean, that is what they're basically saying. It's interesting though. I don't want to pronounce the name wrong. Ribianca. It's interesting how even in 2025, I see people that just have full trust and faith in not only the government, but big institutions. And I'm like, history hasn't shown you anything.
But wait a minute. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. After all that's happened.
Yeah, history hasn't shown you anything because people still, have that. As an aside, I've shared this several times. I've shared it in the village. I'm going to share it again here. This book right here is probably one of my favorite books in terms of options trading, specifically the leap strategies that I use. I do not get paid by this. It's written by Mike Wynn, who doesn't seem to exist anywhere online. So I really think this is Nancy Pelosi's pen name because she personally uses this strategy too.
Is it her or is it her husband?
whoever in that family, somebody in their family be running this play. So I always like to give my book recommendations. So here's a book recommendation for you if you're looking to learn about the leap strategies that I talk about. They don't talk about specifically printing cash. That's because my real estate brain is like, how do I make rent off of my leaps? But they talk about leaps in general. So that's the book. It's called Intrinsic. Okay, got you. But yeah, so that's what's going on, y'all. I'm looking at Meta. Corey is looking at QQQ, so they kind of run parallel. So from a long-term standpoint, though, let me show you guys what I'm looking at, on a long-term purchase.
Before you do that, Jim, let me break in real quick and show everybody something. Give me one second.
You got it. You got it. Let me take the screen down.
There we go. Here we go. All right, so I just want to remind everybody, this week coming. All right, this week's coming. We got a lot of stuff coming up, and it's not doing it right.
Yo.
I'm not doing this, man. Listen, you got to give me a reprieve or something. And I just figured out what I said. Why you said, yo.
Come on, man.
For the record, Jimmy's mind is always in the gutter.
It's not. You gotta chill though. My mind, it's.
Why I gotta chill? Why I gotta chill?
I know. Okay, go ahead. Do your thing, beloved. Do your thing, man. I'm chilling. I'm gonna be quiet.
It's too late. It's too late.
That's what she said.
Oh God. And it's not working. What happened? What just happened? What just happened? All right, Jimmy messed me up, y'all. It's Jimmy's fault.
Oh, I ain't gonna blame me. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. How you gonna blame me, dog?
Listen, if I gotta pause everything, then listen, it's your fault. All right, I just want to remind everybody, upcoming Wednesday, we're going to do a class on, that's our Wealthy Wednesday section, the power of personal financial planning. So if you don't have a financial plan, we'll be going over the basics of how to create your own financial plan. So that's Wednesday at 8 p.m. Every Friday, we do our Bitcoin giveaway. That's at 7 o'clock. And now you're here with us on Sunday, Money Church. That's 10 a.m. every week. Just wanted to remind everybody about that. So set your calendars. Make sure you're going over to blackwealthrebels.com and lock in for all the notifications and everything that's coming up. All right, Jimmy, that's all I got.
Okay, listen, it's well worth it. Let me share one more thing, man. Just to talk about what I'm buying long term. For those that are in the village, right? So when I be rumbling SPY every day, what I was telling y'all is I take, and again, I'm not giving y'all the pie in the sky crazy $1 million plays on a daily basis like that. That's done through the leaps. But the daily goal is anywhere between a bean and $100 to $300 a day. That's the goal when we rumbling SPY, right? And by the way, if y'all go back to the actual chat within the village and you see the SPY, you can see the compound growth. Never mind. All right, no, I'm going too far.
But how are you going too far?
Yeah, so over the last couple of weeks, you can see this, the data is there. But here's what I'm looking at. So I always look long term to buy a little bit of this, right? So I think the base of everybody's portfolio should be the S&P 500, right? That should be your base, right? If we're talking about real estate, we're talking about the foundation. So we're talking about the analogy of real estate. The foundation should be the S&P 500, and then you start from there and you go above, right? One of the things that I like to do is to get equity in the top companies within the S&P 500. Because again, that's where all the magic happens anyway. The top 20 companies are responsible for over 70% of the growth of the entire 500. So by buying this top T that I consistently buy, I am getting higher allocation towards those, right? When you buy an ETF, you're buying the basket, but you're buying the actual ETF, which is allocated towards those stocks. So what are the stocks within top T? And I've shared this multiple times, but I'm doing it again for a reason, right? Because I want everybody to understand a couple things. For one, that there is an expense ratio of 0.2. It's not the cheapest, right? If you buy the S&P 500, you can get the expense ratio to be something like 0.08. I was looking at VU or something like that. So it's a little bit higher, but it's overall, it's going to benefit me more just based upon the returns of the stocks in here. So if you look, as of right now, it gives you how it's broken down. Electronic technology makes up 34% of top T. Technology in general is 24.3. Retail is 11.38. Then you have finance, commercial services, consumer durables, health technology, energy minerals, health services, and consumer non-durables. That's what makes up the entire pie of top T. Remember, it's only 20 companies that make up this ETF. It's only 20. It's not the full 500. It's the top 20 of those 500, right? That's important to point out. So what does that look like? All right. So it's 100% North America. Obviously, there's no international in here. But 14.46% is Apple, 14% is NVIDIA, 13.26 is Microsoft. Then you have Broadcom, but then you have Berkshire. So it gives you a little bit of diversity too in terms of that. Then you have Tesla, but it's very tech heavy. Amazon, Meta, JP Morgan Chase, another bank. Then we get into the pharmaceuticals with Eli Lilly. But the top 10 of those 20, it's all math again, the top 10 of those 20 make up 73% of the entire ETF. So the top 10 is very important. But again, instead of me having to buy Apple or NVIDIA or Microsoft or any of these things, I get to kind of participate in the value of all of them. Instead of me having to buy Berkshire, I get to, through Top T, all of these, and these are powerful companies. These are companies that we all know. I'm not going to say love because some of us may hate them, but it is what it is. So that's what I'm looking to buy long term. So when you guys see me in there trading SPY, and it's like, all right, I didn't smack SPY for 300 today. All right, I smacked SPY for $150. I'm immediately taking that and then buying Top T. The only reason for me to do trades on a daily basis, and I don't even trade every day, by the way, because if I look at the setup and I don't like it, that's why you won't see me. Like last week, I think I did a week before. I didn't do 2 days, came back the next day, but I did like 600. You know what I'm saying? But then it all flows into Top T. If I can buy, 10 to 20 shares of Top T on a weekly basis, what does that look like long term? Because the only point to me of trading is to buy long-term positions to build wealth from a long-term standpoint. I say all that to say, if you're not familiar with Top T, please take a look at it. It's not investment advice. I'm not telling you to buy it at all, but it's also a risk in Top T. The risk in Top T is entertainment. These are facts. The risk with Top T is that when you see swings, the swings will be heavier, but that's plus and minus, right? So if we go down, you'll see the swings be a little bit heavier because, again, it's only 20 companies as opposed to 500. You dig? FXAIX, right? That's the mutual fund. I'm familiar with that.
I don't know why people buy that, to be honest.
All right. Let's get Kamari get on this soapbox. You sound like Courtney. Courtney be getting mad when people buy.
No, listen. Mutual funds suck. Like there's a better product out there, and the reason why they suck, right? Because all they do is track the S&P 500, just like VU and all the others. But the tax implications of mutual funds suck. You can do the same thing, get the same returns in a product, an ETF product, and not have to deal with the capital gains distributions. Because
now, hold on. Let me add a caveat to that, Kamari. I do not disagree with you. You are 100% right. And the reason that I say that is because I think that ETFs are more liquid than mutual funds also.
Yeah.
You gotta wait to the end of the day for you to tally everything up. But what I will say is that if you have a retirement account such as a 401k or 403b or 457, all they will generally give you sometimes is mutual funds like an FXAIX or a VI.
And that is correct. And I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes. That's why we a team, good brother. You know what I'm saying?
No. But what I was going to say is also if you have, so everything's context, put it in context, right? So if you've already built a stable position in FAX or any other Vanguard mutual funds, it might not make sense to sell them because you're going to get smacked hard with even bigger capital gains. But going forward, if it was me, I would start reinvesting everything you got and going to a non-taxable event investment. That's all I got.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, the overall thing is just keep investing. So Lisa, please don't take what I'm saying. I'm not coming down on you. I'm just saying overall, adding nuance. Let's look at.
I think that's why a lot of the tax conversations are important because a lot of people don't look at tax implications of anything, whether it's real estate, bonds, stocks. The tax part is a lot of times left out, which is why it's important to do. I knew you were coming from that because Courtney be going off about that too. She was like, the taxes on mutual funds, the taxes. I'm like, I get it.
Because they're crazy. They're crazy.
Yeah, the taxes, right? But also for me, one of the big things I like to think about specifically as I get older is liquidity, right? Liquidity to me is very important. It's why my specific strategy with the physical real estate I have is what it is. And, you know, I debate folks, but I like to buy even tangible real estate that's more liquid than other forms of real estate. In terms of ETF versus mutual fund, the ETF is very liquid. And liquidity is very important. So, you know, but anyway, man, that's what I'm looking at long-term as a long-term buy right now. Corey has a couple other things that he's going to share specifically within the village. Short-term plays. I'm looking to see what happens with Meta. I'm looking to follow Meta. I want to see how the TikTok thing plays out and how that affects Meta. You know, as Zuck goes through his full rebrand. By the way, I'm gonna get some of them glasses too, some of them smart glasses.
Oh God.
I am. Listen, I was one of them weirdos that had Google Glass when they first dropped, and I was out here looking like a weirdo. Felt like I was on Star Trek. I say Star Wars because Mario, you know, that's a debate in here too.
It's actually not because I like both.
But you told me that Star Trek is better than Star Wars, though.
Well, it's more black.
I can't even argue that, man. So the thing is,
I know that's the trump card.
That's that. Yeah, you just do it on the draw 4 and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? I don't even have no reverse card, bro.
Listen, I play to win, baby. I play to win.
You know
now,
what I'm saying?
we talked about something else last night. We were supposed to have a stock slap down where I beat the living shit out of Corey.
Whoa!
Whoa!
When are we doing that?
All right, so
and I don't forgot the companies we supposed to do.
All right, so for those that have no idea what we're talking about, we have an idea of doing a versus, right? But we're going to talk about stocks where Corey takes one stock, Kamari takes another stock, and they make the argument over which one is the better investment. And I just play, I'm like smack, I just spit in the middle and I instigate. But the first one, I think, I don't know if it was Coke or Pepsi or was a Home Depot or Lowe's. It was something in
I think it was Coke versus Pepsi.
Coke versus Pepsi.
And I think Corey had Coke and I got Pepsi.
Corey had Coke, you had Pepsi, and y'all were going to make the argument in terms of which was the better investment. And we were going to do it. I'm
going to beat the black off his ass.
So it's going to be fun because they're going to really debate this, but it's also a learning thing too, because we're going to use the data to actually make the argument, right? We're going to use the data, not just data, but the narrative as well. So we're going to set that up, man. I'm trying to, anybody got any good graphic designers out there? Let's see if the village got anybody. I'm looking for someone to create a flyer for this versus. I want to get like Corey Kumari posing like boxers, but this is all about stock.
Jimmy trying to get your Don Trump. Don King.
Whoa, Don King, man.
Don King.
Okay, all right. You know, as long as it's the black man. But listen, so if anybody got any good graphic designers, let me know. I want somebody to cook something up for me, man. I need a Corey Kumari. We're gonna do our first, finance versus, and they're gonna make the argument. We're gonna stream it live. We want y'all to pull up. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, we're gonna stream it live and do it behind the village. I do behind the village. We could add some music to it. But anyway, we'll figure that out. But I need someone to create the flyer.
Get greasy. We can get real greasy.
I want somebody to create the flyer, man. I need someone that has any good graphic designers out there. Yeah, I know how to use Canva a little bit, but that's not in my wheelhouse. I want somebody to cook something up real nice because I think it's going to be funny. I think that adds to the hilarity of the whole thing. Because we're
gonna need Corey to take some pictures though.
Yeah, I know Corey be ducking the camera like he got a couple fed cases spinning.
Come on, get on the mic. Pause.
Hey, yo! Come on, man. What is going on? Slow up. Easy.
What are we talking about?
Come on.
Damn. What? All right, yeah, we definitely gotta get Tiff involved, man.
Yeah, but Tiff, you're gonna talk that trash though. You're gonna have to talk greasy to some of these people. Tiff real nice. She's real soft and demure.
And demure. Rest in peace, TikTok, man.
Rest in peace, TikTok.
Rest in peace.
But also fuck TikTok because TikTok wasn't doing that for black people. And here's my thing with TikTok.
Whoa.
No, real rap. Everybody was like TikTok this, but let's not forget that they was banning black creators as well, just like all these other racist ass platforms. I'm just.
I was about to ask you, are they any different than all the rest of them?
No, they all the same.
Yo, before we get out of here for the day, do me a favor for those that are still watching with us live, hit the like button, share button, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Go to blackwealthrebels.com and join our village. We have fun back there. We get to talk about all kinds of stuff like
But only come if you're community minded though. That's all we want.
Yeah. That's it, right? We get to have great discussions like how Nate from Set It Off was misunderstood,
We doing this again, man?
No. I'm just saying these are real conversations. These are real conversations that happen. So I want to make sure people understand that, we do talk a lot about real estate. We talk about the stock market. I'm bloviating about Bitcoin all day long, but we also have fun. We talk about. All right, yeah. I mean, everybody knows, man. I got 56 of these different hoodies, stacks and dot trying. You know what I'm saying? It's my daily uniform. But as my accountant tells me, now my clothing. Never mind. Never mind.
But before you go any further, break down to them exactly what you're talking about.
So there was a funny debate on our Wednesday show. By the way, we stream live on Wednesdays and Fridays. Wednesdays, we generally talk about something financial related, but we got into this wild conversation, and it was really funny because I blame Anthony and Don who were in the chat. I blame them for it, but it was a conversation.
Well, you blame them, but you did start it. I mean, just to be clear,
it was a joke though. But it was a joke though. It was really about how Nate from Set It Off. Like, was he a victim or was he taking advantage of her? And how Nate. There's a lot of Nates in the community, and if not for Nates in the community, then certain people don't go to school, certain people don't have school supplies, and how Nate was a community activist in his own way. So it was really as a joke. It was really as a joke. But then it got actually to a serious conversation, right? She propositioned him. What's the famous line? Entrepreneur 215 just put it on the screen. That is the famous line.
I'm in a bind, Nate.
I'm in a bind, Nate, right? So, so then it turned into a whole thing about how when you look at the movie, right, and you watch the movie, when they were robbing everybody and taking advantage of everybody. And by the way, shout out to Entrepreneur 215 for that book. That's one of the greatest books of all time. I got over here.
One of the greatest books of all time. Listen, that man I call him the first black billionaire. He was doing $1 billion deals.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying, I got it right here. You know what I'm saying, keep it right by the desk. But I digress. Excellent book. So look at Ant. See, Ant's the one that started it all, and look, he back in the chat right now, still going at it, man.
Wait a minute. What's true, Camille? What are you saying true?
I'm just listen. But we get so talking to a thing when they started robbing folks, they never bothered Nate, and the reason they never bothered Nate is because Nate looked out for the community. He may have gotten his own thing. And
y'all worse than Trump.
Some people would say that Nate was an old lonely man. Listen. Some say that Nate was an old lonely man who got taken advantage of, right?
Y'all spinning too hard for me, man.
Anyway, that's all I'm saying. So these are some of the conversations that we have. This is what I mean by Anthony. Anthony be instigating. He be starting a lot of these conversations, man. When Ant and Don show up to the chat, we know it's about to be crazy because so he calls them Make the Great, man. But anyway, Tiff says her book. It's a good time to bring this up, Kamar. We got a new book we're gonna start our book club with. Correct.
And you know what? I just got robbed for it last night.
All right, so Money Talk with Tiff says we reading that and my book club next. Oh, nice. See,
right, hold on. Give me 1 second, John.
So we are starting a book club with the Black Wealth Rebels, and our first book, we said was going to be Black Fortune, but we actually changed it to a smaller book, in a book that we think should be first for a reason, because it kind of breaks down the entire financial system, right? I always got books by the desk, by the way, but the one book I'm always going to show y'all is this, Own Your Mistakes, because the street tells me that this book right here can only be compared to the Bible and the Quran. I didn't say that, the streets did, so I'm just going to show this to y'all. But Kamari, what is the book that we're going to start our book club with? Did you have it?
Yep, I got it.
Hey, listen, you see what Camille said right there?
We're going to come back to that. I'm disappointed in all y'all. Where's y'all pride? But I come back.
Ant made it crazier. Ant made a crazier assertion. I'm not even going to get into that, but all right, How Money Works. This is the book that we're going to start with. We're going to start with How Money Works. This is again, we talk about the foundation. We talk about building property. This is the foundation. We don't care whether you are a real estate person, whether you are someone that's into digital currency, whether you're someone that's into the stock market, bonds, mutual funds, you run a business. This book is imperative for everyone.
Everybody.
How money works. We're getting back to the basics, and we think we're going to start with this. This is an easy read. So this will be the first one.
It's an easy read, but it's a powerful read, and it really breaks down how everything works, like Jimmy said.
Yes. All right.
So sometimes we have these conversations to really share the importance of knowing some of these things, but we wanted to have a really concrete working so you can see it. So everybody go out and get this. It's only
Yeah,
like
go out and get the
12
book. We're
bucks.
going to start that. We're probably going to start our book sometime in mid-February. We're going to have it, get it started, and because we want to organize it and have it like a real thing. We jump on Zoom and discuss it and really get value out of it. And again, we're trying to build a real community. This isn't, those other things. I need you to get to the comments though, because Entrepreneur 215 is giving out game about quid pro quo and how it's answers my bad. We must stay focused. We must stay focused. All right, quid pro quo is how society has been running since we discovered fire.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. But y'all pay Nate like a hero, like he MLK. It's MLK Day. Let's not disparage.
Oh, here you go. See how Kamar took a step too far, Core. Yo, real quick though.
Listen, no. That's what I think Don or Ann said it the other day. He's a national hero up there with civil rights.
Don said you got MLK, you got Malcolm,
right.
You got Nate. He said Marcus. He said the Mount Rushmore. Marcus, Malcolm, Martin, and Nate. All right, so look at Ant's comment though. Ant's comment is a little bit wilder though.
Oh, where's Ant? All right, Nate owned a car lot as well. He provided a service to the community.
No, a little bit further up.
We know all them cars was lemons because all he was trying to do was to do backseat. He wanted to have a backseat.
Oh, come on,
in my Jeep. Let's swing an episode. That's all he wanted. Backseat in my Jeep.
You disrespecting Nate though. Go back up a little bit further in the comment. That's what I'm talking about. Now that's what I don't know if I'm ready to make that argument yet.
Oh man.
Yo, when we gonna start the Black Wealth Rebels movie club? All right, but listen though, look at Camille's comment.
Next thing you're gonna be saying, Mr. was a saint from Color Purple.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No, before that, her comment before that is in combination. You missed the first part of it. The Nates in the community keeps a lot of tenants off their backs and out of court. There are a lot, and that's the thing. That's the thing I was trying to tell you, Kamar. We act like, and someone brought up the comment. Someone said in our community there's a lot of Nates. We learn to call them Uncle. Uncle Phil in the blank comes through.
Yeah. I mean, so Don Johnson brought up the Bible, right? And me and Corey got into a serious conversation yesterday. Not even serious. Did you share that, Jimmy?
I got the footage. No, I'm gonna share it today. I got a couple things
man.
I'm gonna share today, man.
Yeah.
When we did the talk yesterday, I got first thing I gotta share is how I'm mixing my wire bars, man. Because I'm so good at mixing in wire bars in my talks that people don't even realize that's what I'm doing. So I'm gonna share that in a second. Again, I want to shout out Camille too.
Well, what you've been doing is you standing on them lies. You standing on them lies.
I see you. I want to shout out Camille too for the invite. And for those who don't know, Camille does a lot of community work. And she helps people get their mind right and get into the real estate space. And she invited us out to have a talk yesterday. So I want to give her a shout out. Who's in the chat? Say thank you for that, because anytime I speak a lot, right? But I'm gonna keep it 1,000 hours with y'all. Y'all know I talk Bitcoin and I talk data science and all that. So most of the rooms that I'm in, I don't. I was telling Kamari this last night. Most of the rooms that I'm in, unfortunately, most of the people don't look like me. So I get overexcited and start bloviating when I get in front of our community. So I was telling Kamari, I said I need to calm down. I was a little bit too excited yesterday because most of the rooms that I'm in, because of what I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying? It'd be other folks. It'd be 6Fs and whatnot. So. But thanks. I want to thank Camille for that. So anytime we get a chance to do something in our folks, it's more powerful, in my opinion. But I digress. So Money Talk with Tiff says they read Black Fortunes first. You know what I'm saying? We on the same wavelength. All right. What else? Ace was putting folks on. They were able to feed their families. All right.
Everybody gonna eat.
Everybody eats. B. Nate and Cuddy from Dead Presidents. Real America.
Yo, now that comment, oh man.
Now Cuddy is my guy. I rock with Cuddy.
Yo, that comment, that comment.
We way off topic today. Our Sunday Finance Church. We talked about what we're looking at this upcoming week in the market. Corey's looking at the.
That is about finance.
Yeah, I'm looking at Meta. I want to see how the whole TikTok thing plays out. It will be interesting. I'll be watching SPY. The other part that we didn't actually mention with all this is the inauguration, right? And you know how the markets move off emotion too. Yeah. So how is that going to affect what's going to happen during the course of this week? So something to also look at.
I'm expecting the banks to move. By the way, if y'all
Banks
want
moved
to
last week though. With all the earnings, the banks had moved last week. So I don't know whether that was already priced in with the move. This like, but we'll see though. We'll see.
You know what though? But real quick, Jimmy, I want you to explain what priced in means real quick because a lot of people don't understand that concept. But number two, Corey gave a play last week, and I kind of jumped on his play. Pause. Right? Did I get it right, Jim? Did I get it right?
You're good,
Okay.
Danny Glover.
All right. But he gave us XOM, which is ExxonMobil, right? Huge oil company, largest oil company in the world. I said I can't afford XOM, so I went the cheap way, and I brought XLE, which is the ETF. Right? I got. What's that?
No, I was saying how did it work out for you?
I'm up 20% so far.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. See, we get money over here. By the way,
so I'm gonna let that run. I'm gonna let it run, and we'll be back on that.
Another book right here. I'm in the process. You see, I got my bookmark here. I'm currently reading. It's called "It's the Price of Oil." Stupid. Oh, Kamar, you ain't see my new bookmark, man.
Oh, you got a new bookmark? Let me see it, man.
I showed you, Corey. You see the custom engraved bookmark, Kamar.
Is that a magnet on both sides?
Yeah, man. Well, on one side it got the initials, the other side it got the crown. You know what I'm saying? Because we're doing king stuff over here.
All right, we need a BWR. We need a BWR bookmark.
But then in the middle, it's a reminder of what I need to be doing, which is stacking sats. But I digress, man. So custom bookmark. But anyway, this is the book
we need a BWR bookmark. I need you to stop being selfish.
I got you. But it's called "It's the Price of Oil," stupid. And as I read this, I'm like, okay, I gotta figure out how to use this information to make some oil plays, right? You know what I'm saying? Big oil. You know,
hold on, we're not gonna zoom past this. I need you to create a BWR bookmark for the village. For the village, it's gotta say for the village only.
I got it. I got you, beloved. Explain what a bank move is. All right, so priced in means that the price action he's talking about happening based upon what's going on in the world is already done. That move has already happened. So you'll kind of be late to the party. If you try to jump in now, you will be late to the party because the move that you're expecting has already happened. It's already happened in the market. So when he says that the banks will move, what he's saying is he thinks that based upon the Orange Man becoming the president, that bank stocks will increase in value. And what I was saying is all the banks rose last week. So what we're saying is we may have already missed that move. If in fact that's what's going to happen, that may have already happened. But we'll sit and watch and see what happens. It's kind of what I was saying yesterday about when you look at the stock market, things that happen in the world, you can actually see it play out in the market, which is why the market is powerful because it's everything. Our entire world is in that market. So you can see when wars happen, when assassination attempts happen, when the economy goes, when anything happens, you can see it reflected in the stock market, which is why it's beautiful. But that's what it is.
What's the banking ETF again? The main one?
The bank one is X. Let me see the X one because I know that VFH is the ETF for Vanguard. Let me get the bank one for you. It's XLF, I believe it is.
XLF.
F as in Frank. Is that it? I believe that's it.
Yep. That's
it. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, XL. You know what? Damn it. You're right.
Yeah. If you're looking, so here's a quick piece of game for you too. If I'm buying long term, I want to buy a bank ETF. I'm going to buy VFH because of a lower expense ratio. But if I'm looking to trade, I'm going to trade XLF because of more
volume.
More volume. There you go. All right. Not investment advice. I'm just saying what I would do if that's what I was looking to do. I already got Berkshire and JP Morgan in my top T, so I don't got to do none of that. So,
So I wanted to pull this chart up, right, to really illustrate what Jimmy was talking about with the bank move. So Monday, XLE, which is XLF, which is the ETF that represents banks, the banking sector. This stock was at 47.50-ish. And then on Friday, it moved to 50.25. So you can see that represented in all of these little, what they call candlesticks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what Jimmy was talking about when he said the banks moved. So it already started.
Yes, it did.
It already started.
Doesn't mean that it'll slow down, though. It depends upon how people feel about the Orange Man and what he's going to do for banks, right? So that thing may keep going, right? I'm just saying I'm going to watch it. So when things tend to run that way, I want to watch a little bit more because the move may already be priced in.
And oil's
That's
definitely
me.
one
That's energy. There we go.
Yep.
Look at Kamari. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
So,
And by the way, that's a play that came out last week. So if you was here last week, you could have got all them green candles.
yeah.
50
And
candles.
that will probably continue to run as well.
50 candles burn bright, or whatever Boys and Men said.
All right, Wanye.
Listen, I got R&B bars too, though. I'm an R&B guy. That's what I do. I express my love of R&B through memes. But Dina, okay, Dina. By the way, Dina, I'm so impressed with Dina that I actually brought you up yesterday when we were doing a live talk.
Wait a minute, you talk about Dina all the time, though, not just yesterday.
No, because I love our folks that be in the trenches actually doing things. This is why I always brag about Camille, because Camille's in the real estate streets actually doing stuff. Dina be in the village actually trading futures. I don't even trade futures. That's not my expertise, but Dina gets busy. She said she got into top T in her long-term portfolio. So shout out to Dina, man. Dina is one of the geniuses in our village. So, she be getting busy in the futures. Shout out to Dr. Chaz too. Dr. Chaz is also, be Rumbling Spy. She's a part of our community too. So it's a lot of folks. We got a lot of great folks in our community. It's not just us three. Again, we are building a true village. So this is what's dope about it. Anyway, man, what time is it, man? I got a showing at 12 o'clock in West Philly. You know what I'm saying? I'm still out in these real estate streets. So
and I'm going to put down salt since I'm a new property manager.
I got to do that too.
Yep.
I got to do that too, man. But also, it didn't even snow yet. You going to put the salt down before the snow?
Yep. Because I might not get out early tomorrow. So I'd rather be soft on the bottom. Pause.
Listen, though. I didn't say nothing. Listen, though.
You was about to, though.
Question, and maybe you can answer this question, right? Because I used to try to do that, and I had a bunch of old heads. I don't know how true it is. Never looked it up. They would say, stop doing that. I'm like, why? They say, because you're going to ruin your sidewalk if you put salt down and there's no snow there.
I mean, if you do that a lot, yes.
It does. It cracks the sidewalk because it's
it expands.
Something about the consistency of the salt messes up the sidewalk.
So Kamari just got enough paper where he don't care about that.
No, I just don't want nobody suing me if I don't get out there in enough time. So
I respect that too. Yeah, we avoid lawsuits.
We got to talk about risk, right? We always got to think risk.
Got to talk about risk. Also, I want to shout out Callie at 3K Cleaning Services, who's a member of the village too, because she has a cleaning company and they went through a property of mine yesterday, top to bottom like crazy, a turnover. So I want to shout them out too. And anybody in the village that has their own business, please let us know because we want to highlight your business because we want to make sure that we all support each other as we build community. We really are community minded. So if you're selling food, if you're selling honey, because we do, if you're selling honey, you're selling books. I mean, I don't care what you're selling. You're selling water. Listen, like you selling yams, you selling airplanes.
Damn, I knew that was coming. So
I listen because I don't
promoting yams now. The yam sellers.
Rest in peace, TikTok. But one of the things that came from TikTok is we don't judge.
403 TikTok.
What did TikTok say?
I mean 304, whatever. I guess.
we don't judge. So my point is, I don't care what you're selling. Let us know so we can highlight your business.
So Camille, send me which chemical you use. And when I say salt, I'm old school. I'm just whatever I got.
Yeah. Also, Camille, I need you to shoot me a message. I need you to send me that joint you had to hold the keys in, right?
Oh yeah, I need that too. It's
funny, right? Because we talk to real estate investors all the time, and I be having the wildest questions. I don't care about how many doors you got. I be wanting to know like real basic stuff. Like when you have multiple doors, what do you do with your keys? Right? That's a real question I be having because.
So I used to have hooks, but I want with Camille. She's got a book, right? Because I don't want to carry all the keys in my pockets, but I will bring a book with me and put it in my backpack.
You don't want to walk around looking like Bookman and whatnot.
I mean, I feel fat like Bookman, so I ain't that far off.
So my thing is, I need to get that book that Camille got. I need that. Like I'm ordering that today. If it's on Amazon, I'm putting the order in ASAP. You know what I'm saying? Also, because I get sats back for buying from Amazon. But if you want to learn how to do that, go join the village and look up Stack Sats at Dot Trying. I give out all the game there. Anyway, man, we love y'all. Remember, earlier in the week, Monday or Tuesday, you get the newest episode of Stack Sats at Dot Trying. That's if you're in the blackwealthrebels.com because it doesn't drop on YouTube until the end of the week. On Wednesday, we have Wealthy Wednesdays where we come on. And this week, Kamar, we already have a topic. We're talking about financial what?
Financial planning. Personal financial
planning. Financial planning. And Friday, we do a giveaway. We give away Bitcoin every Friday. So pull up for our Friday live. And then on Sunday, we have our finance church. And in between that, we are actually doing the things that we talk about. So I'm actually getting ready to go pull up on the property now. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, if anybody's looking, I got 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms available in the city of Philadelphia. I also have a 5-bedroom rental. You know what I'm saying? Right in in Templetown. If anybody's looking for a 5-bedroom, and I do accept vouchers on any one of those properties. So if you got someone looking for I got a voucher looking for a 5-bedroom. I got a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom that's handicap accessible. But I digress. You know what I'm saying?
But real quick, since Camille's on.
Yes.
Somebody said handicap accessibility is going to be a really big thing when it comes to federal subsidies. And
I heard that from the horse's mouth, right? I was in the meeting.
It was you that was talking about that. Okay.
Yes, with the guy who is what's his name? I was about to say Jeremiah Hamilton. Jeremiah Hamilton is not who. that's not the brother's name. That's not the brother's name. Because by the way, Jeremiah Hamilton his name is Kelvin Jeremiah. Kelvin Jeremiah is the head of PHA. I was in a meeting with him, and he said that there is a need in this city for things that are handicap accessible. No one is really solving that problem, and they have thousands of vouchers of people that can't find a home because they don't have handicap accessible features in these homes. No developer or investor is actually building for it. And there's logic to it. Most investors and builders are looking at the cost, but what they don't realize is it's almost like an untapped market. So I heard it from the horse's mouth. He is the biggest developer in the city of Philadelphia because he runs PHA. And he also said they have over 37,000 vouchers overall that need housing. So I say that to say that's who I heard it from, Kelvin Jeremiah, not Jeremiah Hamilton. By the way, Jeremiah Hamilton, though, is someone else you should look up. Jeremiah Hamilton they consider him to be the first African-American millionaire from Wall Street. And what's interesting about his story, I'm not going to give the whole story out, is that because of the times, this was the early 19th century. Late 19th century. He wasn't even able to trade because it was illegal for Black folks to trade. So he had to use proxies. And what he would do is he would use proxies. He made millions of dollars, and he would bed their women. So then they would come trying to kill him.
No. He would use that money to get the snow bunnies.
Yes, he did. He definitely was a bunny hopper. That's also part of his story. He was taking the millions, and bunny hopping like crazy. So then the folks was like, hold up. First of all, this N-word is making money in our market, and he's betting our women, and they tried to burn him down several times. But it's an amazing story. He also was a POS, by the way. He was a terrible human being, and I say that because read the book, you'll see why. But when it came to the markets and understanding money, it is what it is. But that's Jeremiah Hamilton. That's not who I was talking about. That's just a side note.
Right.
It's not the salt that does it. It's actually just the water that melts and refreezes. Certain salts lower the freezing temperature. Those are the ones to use. Okay.
Now that's Shelby Martin. That's my buddy. He also has a striping company. So he does striping on parking lots, commercial parking lots. So that's why he knows that. I didn't know that, Shelby. So thank you.
All right, Shelby, you got any specific product or brand that you can endorse and send us? Send it to Kamari, man. I want to see what that is. Because listen, it was like hood science. Like all the old heads, like, yo, dog, why you messing up your sidewalk? And I was like, all right, Joe. Like it was like the old heads was telling me to stop doing that.
Now, Camille says if you provide it, they will never leave. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. I'm getting ready to build one if my variance is approved. Look, Camille's out here building. Congratulations, and here's praying to your variance getting approved. I'm fighting zoning right now, so getting ready to go before the zoning board. As a matter of fact, Kamari, I got to talk to you offline about something too, beloved, in regards to that.
Okay.
So anyway, y'all, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We will see y'all next week on one of our many shows. And if anybody has any graphic designers, reach out to us. I need a good graphic designer to cook something up for us. With that being said, please stay safe out there, specifically those in the Northeast that we're about to get hit with snow. Please stay safe and join the village, blackwealthrebels.com. Until next time, we love y'all. Peace.
Peace.